Hello, I'm Michelle Casorla, and I am the academic platypus. I call myself the academic platypus because an English professor doing AI is a little bit like an egg-laying mammal. All right, so I'm a professor of English at Georgia State University Perimeter College, and you can see my LinkedIn um, QR code down in the right-hand corner. I'm going to give a little disclaimer for this video series first. The views, opinions, and content expressed in this video series are solely my own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy position or endorsement of Georgia State University. I'm doing this all on my own equipment, in my own time. Okay, here we go. So I'm doing this whole video series with the assumption that people who are just starting out with AI might need some practical tips and some understanding for how to go through this process. I went through this process with a wonderful and very supportive partner, which was my colleague Eugenia Novokshonova, also at Georgia State Perimeter College. And she and I worked towards creating AI informed courses in writing at Georgia State. So I want to let you know that you don't have to be a writing instructor to get something from this series because I'm going to really focus on the beginner level and let you know about some of the things that you're going to need to change for any classes that you might be teaching. So this is probably best for high school and higher ed, but I guess middle school could get something from it too. All right. So the first thing I want you to do is to assume something, which is that every student is using AI. And I also want you to assume that you're going to have to completely redo your classes. You cannot just patch in a couple of AI exercises and call it a day because the problem that you're having with AI is systemic and it requires a systemic solution. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to give you a little bit of insight into that systemic solution. So the biggest thing is you can't stop AI. AI is here. It's in your students' lives. It's in your class. It's going to be in their future employment. And it's probably in your life pretty thickly too. So take a moment, remember all those great times you had teaching before AI, and then move on. You can't teach like that anymore. You're going to have to adapt with the times, and there's going to be some things that you're going to lose, but there's also going to be a lot of things that you're going to be gaining in this process. So when you say no AI, exactly what do you mean? Um, we oftentimes want to just go back in time and teach without it. Um, but the truth of the matter is, it's in almost everything we do. So it's part of Word, Microsoft Word, a very stable legacy program that we didn't think we were going to have to adapt anything to, but yeah, it's there. It's in Zoom, of course. You're going to be seeing it in your learning management systems like Canvas. It is in PowerPoint. You're going to find it even in Google Scholar, which is a little sad. I was hoping it would stay pristine, but I'm finding even when I do just a simple Google search, I have an AI layer, which is sometimes great, but it's also sometimes really super annoying. I just want the facts. And then the last thing is it's going to be in your email. I say going to be because they say it's in your email, but it hasn't completely tamed my email. So probably hasn't tamed yours either. Okay, so when you say no AI, you're talking probably about explicit use. All right, so that's when you actually go to an AI tool like ChatGPT and you say, I'm going to use this and I'm going to ask it some questions and I'm going to do some stuff. And so that's explicit use of AI. There's also implicit use. So that's the things that are stuck into Microsoft Word and Grammarly and all the other things that we use. We don't think about them, but they're there. even when you use an AI detector, and I'll talk about AI detectors probably in very soon in another part of this video series. But when you use an AI detector, it's AI doing the AI detecting. So if you don't trust AI, I don't know why you're using an AI detector, okay? So the implicit is an invisible integration of AI into a tool. Also your GPS, we're using it all the time. And then there's ambient use. So for example, it's in your Alexa. I'm not going to say it because she'll come alive. Also in your Google Home and all of those other things, and even in your doctor's office. So they're taking ambient notes. Don't say anything negative about your doctor. It'll be in his notes or her notes. So you know that your students are using AI. You can feel it in your soul. Every time you read something, you're wondering. Every time you grade a test or a quiz or a discussion post, you're thinking, okay, how much of this is AI? And it's turned us into policemen, not teachers. And I really want to encourage you to take off the policeman's cap, to put down your whistle, and start concentrating on what you do best again, which is teaching. So, what happens when you stop worrying and you embrace AI? What if you woke up tomorrow and you said, I don't care if my students use AI. In fact, I want them to use it every day in every way. This happens. So when Eugenia and I started working with AI, we started paying attention to what we were doing and paying attention to what was happening with the students. In this study, which was a SOTL study, that's the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, we did a mixed study, which is qualitative and quantitative. We took the numbers of the departmental rubric, how our students were doing on that departmental rubric after AI, how our students did before AI, and how the other people in the department were doing in at the same time contemporarily to these students. And we found when we compared all of those things that our students were excelling in almost every metric in our class. And we weren't doing it because they were cheating. No, 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 no. I know you're thinking, oh, they just wrote your papers with AI. That's how it got better. No, no, no. No, the way it got better was we taught our students how to use AI to make them think more deeply and to make them work harder at the things they were doing. We didn't give them ways to go around what we were doing. And I'll teach you how to do that through this series. So this study explored the potential of generative AI tools to address the challenges faced by freshmen enrolled in composition courses at Georgia State University. So our school is an urban, predominantly Black institution, minority serving institution, Hispanic serving institution. So we have a lot of students who really have high need. At Georgia State Perimeter College, we're basically a community college. So we take anyone who comes in with the most basic skills, and we have 15 weeks in English 1101 and 15 weeks in English 1102 to make them into the college ready scholars that they need to be. And that's a very short amount of time. So what can we do to catch up on all the things that those students missed, especially during COVID, with reading and writing skills? And AI really helped us out to bring all of those students up to the same level and then to push them beyond that to make them the best students that they could be. This is another example of what happened. This is one of our students. This is a qualitative metacognitive thing that he wrote. I now feel more confident as a writer, not because I assume I am right, but because I know how to test my ideas, refine my questions, and strengthen my claims through evidence. The most valuable lesson I will carry forward is the habit of inquiry. Reading information as something to investigate and treating my writing as a commitment to clarity, fairness, and proof. And this is what we want for your students too. I want to teach you the things that we learned about teaching and how we got our students to really pay attention to working with AI as a tool but not as a substitute for what they're doing. So if you like this and you're interested in it, you'll have to follow the next part of this and subscribe and like and pass on what we're doing. So, well, what I'm doing, I guess. All right. Have a great day.